What's going on, guys? Brad Bald here, real estate and title attorney for Row Title and Escrow.
And I am Tatiana Rodriguez, mortgage loan officer with Primary Residential Mortgage.
And we are here to talk all about closing experiences, the good, the bad, and what makes a fantastic experience. All right, Tatiana, in your experience, what makes a great closing experience?
What makes a good closing experience, I would say, is that lender communication, not only with the title company, but with the client, and setting that expectation from the beginning so they know what to expect, especially if they're new, in the process. How much money do they have to bring to the closing table, the cash to close, the wiring instructions, is it going to be as a cashier's check or just wire? So that type of communication is very important. But what about you? What do you think it makes a good closing experience?
I think consistent communication. What's being communicated to the buyer is the same from the lender to the buyer as the title company to the buyer, so there's no miscommunication throughout the closing process. Also, closing room energy and education, right? As the attorney, I want to make sure that I'm clearly reviewing the loan documents. And this is especially for first-time homebuyers that have never been through the process before. And on that note, I think it's very valuable when the lender and realtor both show up to closing, especially if there's questions that I may not be able to answer, as well as you or the realtor. So having all parties there makes the closing that much better.
So Brad, what is the best lesson you've learned from a rocky closing experience?
A lesson I've learned from a rocky closing is not to have the buyer come to closing unless we have the loan documents in hand. The last thing we want is a client to show up to a 9 a.m. closing and the lender have not sent us the closing documents, right? We do not want the client to be waiting around 30 minutes to an hour until we have the closing documents ready, because that already starts the closing off on a bad foot, right? We want to make sure that we are as prepared as possible right when the client walks into the door. How about you?
Well, for me, checking the names is very important, because if there is a mistake in the name, then we have to send it back to the underwriter, and then they have to reapprove it and then send it back to the title company. So that's a very good lesson I've learned.
All right, Tatiana, are there any closings that stood out to you?
Yes, absolutely. And not because you're here, but the best closing I ever had is when I came to your office and have that. Do you remember that awesome?
Guys, I promise I did not pay her to say this, but I absolutely remember that. That was such a fun time.
Yes, I had so much fun. As soon as I came in, you were very welcoming. What I really liked is not only the Nashville experience, because my clients were from out of state, and when they saw all the artists on the walls and your energy, you were so exciting, so inviting, like so great.
She's the best.
There was music in the background, and then the client wanted to have some champagne, and
Yes.
we got some. So I think that was one of the best experience I've ever had. And again, not because you were here, but it was really pretty awesome.
I'd have to agree with you too, Tatiana. That was so much fun. The clients were so excited and they were so grateful for that experience. And if I remember correctly, we did play somebody's music during
Oh yeah.
No big deal or anything, but this one's kind of a rock star.
Yeah, he was kind enough to play my songs, which are, it's funny because it's Latin music.
Right.
So, my clients were not Latin, but hey, it worked out. He had a good time. It was a great closing experience. Honestly, the best one.
And then typically, probably 98% of the time, when we give a client our closing gift, which is champagne, red wine, Chardonnay, Pinot Grigio, they take it home with them. They don't usually pop the bottle at the closing table. And they asked us, and I said yes, right? Because they were happy, we were excited, and it was so fun being able to pour everybody a glass and toast to the closing.
Yes. So Brad, what sets you apart from the competition or other title companies?
What sets us apart at Row Title is being a boutique firm is extremely valuable, right? We have 2 attorneys, we have an escrow officer, a transaction coordinator, and a legal assistant. So the other attorney and I like to be accessible. We want to have that relationship with the lender, the realtor, and developer. We want to be accessible if they have a question after work. We're only a text away. We also want to be able to grab a beer after a closing with a client. We don't want it so transactional, right? In addition, our office, being on Music Row and working with entertainment clients is such a value add to out-of-state clients. clients from California or Chicago that come in and they want that Nashville feel and they see all the entertainment plaques on the wall, it makes them feel like they're coming to Music City. How about yourself?
Yes, that's a very good point. Because for me, it's all about customer service. I love treating my clients like if they were family. I love their smile at the closing table. I always say that treating them like family is everything. We also have our own closers, our own funders, our own assistants, processors, and underwriters. We have great technology, which makes the expectation for the client a lot better and for a smooth transaction.
Tatiana, when it comes to closing room music, do you have a favorite genre or artist that you like to listen to with clients at the closing table?
Well, not every title company is as fun as yours, just putting it out there. So they're not always have that music going, but if they do, I would say maybe Latin music, just because it's more me. Some salsa,
Yes.
reggaeton, maybe even EDM, even though it's not Latin, but just to make it more
High
fun,
energy.
high energy. That's just me,
Yes.
so that's what I love. But
Yes.
how about you? What music do you like to hear when you're in the closing?
I would say my go-to to play is 90s alternative rock or early 2000s rap and hip hop, right?
Wow.
That's personal to me, and a lot of times clients will enjoy that. But at the same time, not all clients want to come in and listen to that. So I've heard a wide array of genres at the closing table, from Metallica to smooth jazz to 70s soul music to classical. It's whatever the client wants to listen to, so we have to adapt, but that's what makes it fun.